Hello there, my name is Gaby, I pick Challenger, I'm a league coach, and right now we are reviewing the rank 1 Renekton player, how he plays Renekton. He has an assassin playstyle, by the way. He likes to go Prowler Scroll more than often. Now in here, simply the game begins, the video of course, and now what happens is he's pretty much wiping the Singed off the map, right? Now one thing that's interesting to point out, he likes to slowly shove in the early game, so he generates some fury of course, because that's how Renekton works. He got the Q in, he also AoE the babe, so he slowly gets the shove in, gets the level up, right? And which allows him to deal even more damage, so it's really important to just not sit around minions and last hit them. You actually gotta like swing in some basic attacks, but make sure you don't over push the wave, because then the Singe is gonna get too much CS. In here we can see he hard pressured the Singe, so he even took PTA for this type of W all-ins. Another really good Q he got in, right? Now what happens in here, he is just wishing to get his 50 fury and to all in the Singe. So we can see even though he did not have 50 fury, right, he can generate 50 fury and get that empowered W up. For example, he even patiently waited until Singed is, of course. So in here he does not have 50 fury, but he still commits because he knows if he gets a D on the minions, his fury will be up to 41. If he gets a Q off without it being empowered, he gonna get his empowered W off, which means that this Singe will die to his W and to his PTA. Insane. He got his first kill of the game. Now watch out for one thing. This is really interesting. So lots of Renekton players would come back with an item component from Blade of the Rain King, Gore Drinker, or what have you. Right? Blade that Silk Caps, Mercury Threads. But nobody goes for Boots of Swiftness. Now, Boots of Swiftness is quite good on Renekton into a specific matchup like Singed. We can see with our eyes what happens when you get it. So it helps a lot to mitigate the slow from Singed and to stick to Singed, because usually Singed players rush Boots as well. So in here we can visually see that Singed does W right now, the Renekton, but he's not hard slowed enough, and Renekton is allowed to stick to him sadly. And in here what happens, he just falls for the all-in from Renekton, he flashes away, he goes away, but that's not enough. Now, really important thing to do, so if you are, this is a bit risky, just to be clear, this has some risk in it, but you can level 1 proxy. If you cannot proxy, that's fine. What you can also do, you can either short trade or all in the enemy champion. Meantime, if they choose to fight you, they're gonna lose some CS. And if they don't win in long term, you should extend it, of course, depends. But here's the thing, there's no way Singed even kills Renekton, because he has ultimate, he's level 4, he has boost of his swiftness, right? So it's not hard for him to even escape a jungle gank anytime soon. So what happens in here, he hard pressures the Singed. Now Singed is half HP. Once Renekton gets back his cooldowns, he has his ultimate of course, he can dive right now the enemy Singed. If Singed would be full HP, Renekton wouldn't be able to dive him anymore. But because he chipped down his HP to half, now he's allowed to all-in him under tower. Oh. I think Singed is a bit tilted at this point. He is actually. Yeah, that's what he says. That Boots of Stiffness does actually help a lot into Singed. Now in here, same thing happens. He's fishing for an all-in. As soon as he can, he will get the all-in off on the Singed. Singed seems to be a bit tilted right now. He got the empowered W off, feed out. I think he was scared of the enemy jungler, but honestly at this point he could many in aggressively, ult pop his ignite, he would kill Singed. Probably he would wiggle out of the enemy Talias or Amu's grasp. It wouldn't really be a big deal. He just picked up the kill, it's insane. And now what happens, he just like pushes it in. Again, proxies. Watch out, so if you have an advantage, you don't want to allow the enemy Singe to get under tower with full HP. You both deny CS and set yourself up a dive setup, just because if you take half of his HP down, you will take the other half of his HP down when your cooldowns are up, right? But if you try to all-in him under tower and he Ws you, you can't even E out, he could flip you back under tower, right? So it's more risky. But let's say you take half of it right now down, and half of it later, right? Right? So he didn't even connect everything he had, right? And it wasn't even an empowered W, but that's enough. Because now it's really easy to dive the Singed. Now the good thing is that Singed didn't brought plated silk caps, I guess he had no money. And now in here what happens, he's looking for a even more poke. And it's a really easy dive right now. Now what he did was a bit risky, I wouldn't bother without W. but I think he likes to play with... Oh. Oh. And he got killed, but that was really close. That was insanely close, right? Really, that's fine. Now what happens in here? The Singe is getting smashed pretty much. He all-ins the Singe, even though he has no Fury, just because how ahead he is. He keep going, but he doesn't take the all-in because Singe will just space out and he won't get any value, and he will only get his HP will only get chipped by the minions. So he chooses to shove and cancel Singe recall. That's really important because then he gets even less CS value and he loses more plates. Again, what happens? He just simply wards down, gets a W off on the Singe, the all-ins the guy. It's really simple. Now he got his plates, of course. He got the CS. Sylas is trying to challenge the Renekton. The only problem is that oh, he should take that actually. Oh, never mind. The Sylas is actually kinda fat. I did not see that. My bad. He doesn't really tap too often, so you don't really have information whether someone is really fat, someone is not really fat, right? He's trying to spare his ignite, but at the end of the day he decided to ignite. Just because like he doesn't want to give up the kill. Singe gets all in by his Blork and pretty much he picks up a kill. And here, just not really giving up his ultimate or anything, he's just fishing for a W. Singe is really fast by the way with Ghost and Ult, so it's really hard to like get on top of him. I mean, Singe is really trying to be annoying, right? Now, oh, he didn't ult in time. He does ult right now. He picks up the Amumu. Picks up a double. Oh, holy shit. That's a double. He accidentally muted his voice, I think. Okay. Now at this point the Singe is really tilted, so there's not much to say, of course. Slack picks up the kill. Does he die? Barely. Barely.
我要飞，我要飞。
Now let's see what happens in here. No, I mean he pretty much can do whatever he wants, right? Because he's so bad. So basically what happens in here, he's just stomping the game, killing pretty much everybody. He's looking for a D into a Q. It's really bad played on his part. He stick to the Amumu because he knows his E will come up in time, so he can just like get an E off, get a Q off, of course, kill the guy. One thing I didn't mention before, he only plays 3 points in his Q, the rest of them in his W, because his build is W oriented, right? You pretty much want to wipe with your brawlers and your W.
致命一击打不死他，要平 A， 要不然 WQ 直接瞬秒。你说他敢来不？等他来了，我好像路没了，我得去接他一下，要不然我路掉了。
Oh, that's a kill. That's a nice one shot, by the way. So what happens in here? In the rest, pretty much he's just like trying to like fish for all. And at this point, the game is pretty much stumped, right? At this point, the outcome of the game is really obvious. The one thing it's a bit weird for me, he took Grudge. I think he took Grudge for more burst. But Renekton already stuns and kills everybody in the enemy team with his W, so I don't know how much sense did it make this game. This video also belongs to Today on the Korean server. I just made a reaction video. Oh well, the game automatically, but it's the same YouTube channel. It's basically the same YouTube channel.